From cliff camping, four-wheel driving, and plenty of history to discover.
Oh my god, this is insane!
Lithgow should be on your next four-wheel drive adventure, and today we're going to show you why.
I've never done anything like this.
Located 2 hours from Sydney over the Great Dividing Range, Lithgow and surrounding Gardens of Stone State Conservation Area is home to some of the best four-wheel driving and camping in Australia.
So I'm super excited to be in Lithgow. It's a place I've always wanted to travel to, but every time I've been here, there's been wet weather or closed tracks. So we're hoping this time that it all runs a bit smoother, and hopefully we get to see some awesome places.
And it wasn't long until Liam and I were both in the thick of it.
This is absolutely incredible. In between the chasms of all these rocks. It's so green down here too.
It's pretty cool. This track literally takes you through like the center of like a ravine. It's pretty cool. It's like rainforest on the inside and then just rock walls either side. We're just coming into, I believe it's called Cameron's Lookout. And I'll tell you what, the views from up here are pretty darn specky. You don't really see anything like this anywhere else, as far as I'm concerned.
Not a bad spot for lunch.
After lunch, we got back on the tracks and started looking for a camp.
This isn't meant to be the lookout point, is it?
We noticed that a lot of Lithgow is slowly getting closed up. These huge rocks were only recently put here, removing access from an awesome cliff camp we were hoping to check out. Nevertheless, we pushed on and found a small offshoot track that led to an incredible view.
Alright, so we've made it to this little like lookout slash campground. You can drive your car right up on the edge. We're just having a poke around, and considering it's getting a bit later in the day, we're going to start looking for a camp event anyway. We think we might pull up here for the night. There's a little bit of rubbish around, so I'll probably do a bit of an emu bob. But other than that, yeah, I think this will be a pretty cool place to post up and watch as the light dips across the canyon. Second time I've had to do this today. What is it with wet wipes? Oh, holy sh**. That's an interesting one. Leaving fires still going. Bro, so much rubbish. Not a good job to have to do. Yeah, you shouldn't have to clean up other people's crap, but here we are.
So we've done pretty well for camp spots the last few trips, this one being no exception obviously. But one thing when we do rock up to these like more, I guess you'd call them less conventional campsites, like on an edge of a cliff, you do have to think twice about how you're going to set your car up. So you'll see that over here, Liam and I have backed our cars away from the cliff edge, obviously because it's a bit sketchy being so close, but mainly so I can level out the tent and so I can direction it in the way where the wind isn't going to hassle me. So yeah, just little things like that help you sleep a bit better, just overall make the camping and sleeping a whole lot better.
After all the previous deep fried meals and with potentially more on the way, we decided to do something a little bit healthier tonight and just go with plain old tacos.
Very good.
Here it comes.
The next morning we woke up to a pretty spectacular sight, with the clouds spilling over the edge of the cliffs and the sun beaming into camp. We had a lot to check out today, so we spent no time getting packed up and back out on the tracks.
This is like the only hard bit of this track, and we're going down it. And even up it wouldn't be hard either, there's that much grip. But so definitely do have to pick your line a little bit.
Oh, that's a bit of flex.
Not very controlled. Oh. Far out. I didn't make that look very elegant.
Over the past few trips, we've seen a lot of history, but these are probably some of the oldest human artifacts in Australia. All right, so Liam and I just walked up to Blackfellow's hand cave, where you can actually see Aboriginal cave paintings, like handprints in here, which this whole cave's covered in them. And Liam and I were just saying, it's pretty freaky that you can just go up here and be this close to them, because usually it's all behind massive fences and whatever, but yeah, right here across the whole cave, handprints that I don't even know how old they could be, probably thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. It'd be pretty freaky being the first person to come up here and sort of discover them all. It's, yeah, pretty crazy.
We continued to wind our way through these ancient valleys towards our next spot, which we've been waiting a long time to check out.
Alright, so now we're traveling to a spot I've been waiting to go to for a long time. It's been on the bucket list, and that is the Lost City. So you can see by all these sandstone pagodas that it's a pretty rough terrain. These have been shaped over millions and millions of years, and for a long time, this really wasn't ventured by settlers. Like, this area was vastly untouched. Even today, there's no massive car park or boardwalk or anything coming down here. I'm sure that's going to probably change in the next 20 years, but you used to be able to actually drive your car all the way down here. You can see remnants of campsites and stuff. That's no longer the case. You have to park up on top of the hill. But it's going to be interesting to see how places like these change over the years. Obviously, I think this is probably going to be a massive tourist attraction, especially for Lithgow. So it'll be interesting to see how it changes. But yeah, definitely get out of here while you can. It all looks super awesome right now. So very glad we got to come see it.
Now, while we're in Lithgow, we had to come have a look at some of the infamous tracks. One of them being Moon Rock. Alright, that's actually pretty gnarly. And it's actually not that gritty. Oh, it never looks as hard on camera as it does in person. Upon seeing it, it's kind of reaffirmed my my thoughts. It's pretty wild looking. I mean, without lockers, it sort of seems a bit, you know,
Waste of time.
Probably not a wise decision. It's not like it's taken us anywhere, it's just more for the fun of it, if anything, but I don't know how fun that would feel.
So we decided to keep the vehicles right side up and continue on to one of the coolest drives I've ever done.
Oh my god. And it's black. Turn my lights on. Jesus. Bro, Liam, this is crazy. This is insane. I'm inside of a train tunnel in a car.
Oh my god. Full blackout. That's crazy.
I've never done anything like this.
Holy, that's crazy. I didn't expect it to be a complete blackout.
That was crazy. Your car literally sounded like a train coming through. Like from this side, it sounded so fun. Yeah. That was wild.
Definitely come and do that. If you can't to Lithgow, drive through a black hole in your car. It's pretty cool.
Eventually the road ends and you'll have to go on foot, but soon you'll reach the Glowworm tunnel.
It's like out of Jumanji or something.
Alright, so Liam and I have just stumbled upon this. It looks like a hole to nowhere. In fact, it's a railway tunnel. So this is the tunnel that connected the mining facility of Noons, where they were mining shale oil, all the way back out to the township of Lithgow. So it went all the way through the mountains, weaved through everything, and they had to cut through some pretty crazy rock to do it. So this tunnel is 366 meters long. It has a big curve in it, meaning that it's pretty dark inside of it. And that means there's glowworms living in there. So we're gonna hopefully find some glowworms. We brought the head torches and yeah, walk into this massive hole in the ground. And yeah, it's pretty freaky, but let's go have a look. Now this tunnel was obviously done the time before big boring machines and all that. It would have been dynamite, hand tap and drill, boom explosion. It's pretty insane really. 1908 this was built, I'm fairly sure. But the railway line itself was only open until 1936 or something, until they stopped mining the shale mine. So it really wasn't around for too long. There was actually a quote on the information board saying that this was going to be like one of the most spectacular railways in the whole of Australia, like in terms of scenery. And you can see why, because it's absolutely insane as you drive down here and follow the old train route.
So we've managed to spot a few glowworms up on the roof of the tunnel. And the reason they glow is to attract insects. So some organisms have what is called bioluminescence, so they can emit a light essentially, and they use that to attract the insects, and then the worms eat the insects, and there you go, it just all works out. So they're just like their own self-feeding, you know, self-attracting system.
They're pretty faint on the camera, but in person they're very visible. One of the coolest things I got to walk through. That was bloody awesome.
So after the Glowworm tunnel, we headed off to find a camp, and we had a pretty secluded one in mind, but we'd have to put the cars in low range to get there.
Alright, we made it to camp. Bit of a 4x4 track to get down here, but we'll have to deal with that tomorrow morning when we wake up. It's very nice, very pretty cave system, running water, a satanic bear on a cross. Nailed to a cross. But yeah, got the fire going now, so it should be a pretty good night. Liam's got some exciting things planned for dinner tonight, which I've been like so chuffed for the last few days, so I can't wait to do them.
Alright, so we're at camp tonight and it's almost coming into dinner time now. Being the end of the trip, you sort of run down on supplies. We haven't got heaps of stuff left, so we figured let's try experiment a bit and use some of the leftover stuff we have. So we've got one thing, we've got hot dogs, we've got plenty of them, and another thing we've got is the leftover crumbing from the KFC. And so I'm thinking of combining the two, and we're gonna make KFC corn dogs essentially. So to make a corn dog, you use batter instead of a crumbing, so it's pretty simple. We're just gonna use the flour crumb we already have. and also incorporate an egg and as well as some milk. And you're probably thinking to yourself, why the hell are you mixing it in a travel mug? Well, that will become apparent very soon. Doesn't look that appetizing to begin with, but that's all right. So we've got our blend made. Now we're gonna get some oil on the fire and let it start to heat up. Now the other reason this works is because we're using leftover skewers from when we made kebabs the other night. So this is a very efficient meal. Well, yeah, we'll see if it is a meal. We might have to end up cooking something else if they don't work out, but we'll see. All right, there you go. So that's one dog. You're literally just dunking it into here and then sitting in the oil. So, just see why I did it in a cup? So you can dunk the dog. All right, ready? You can pretty much fry anything if you want to. What do you reckon?
I reckon they're looking pretty bloody good. Now I would pay $10 for that at a county fair.
It smells like KFC. KFC corn dog going in.
What's the verdict?
I mean, I think that just tastes like a corn dog. I've never had one before, so I'm assuming any flavour is just going to come from the hot dog or the batter, that's what this is doing. So yeah, I guess that's a corn dog.
That's it. That's a corn dog.
So with the corn dogs being a success, we decided to make a few more.
That's potentially the best one so far. So since we're deep frying stuff, I figured why not try an onion, do like an onion ring. Batter's crunchy. That's better. That could be a winner.
You discovered your new passion, Liam, deep frying.
Fry the world. I don't know, it's just kind of like an easy way to spruce up normal food. Just like a little snack. I'm not saying eat it all the time. Look, it's probably the worst me and Patrick have eaten in a long time. Oh, potato cakes. Bro, you can actually do a disc of potato.
Do it.
And a bit of Tommy sauce. Potato isn't quite cooked. So yeah, that concludes that. Now we're gonna sit around here and think about the food we could have been eating instead.
So, just doing the dishes of the night, and Liam's been using this special sponge for the past few camping trips, and it's grown on me a lot. Liam, what is it?
This is Scrub Daddy. I got it from the reject shop for like $2, but you might have seen it on there's this TV show called Shark Tank, and it was like a big flop and no one wanted to invest in it. But it's actually kind of cool because when you put it in the hot water, it softens up into like a sponge. The fact that it's a circle, you can stick it in a cup like so.
You put your fingers in the eye holes.
Yeah, and you can so you can do all like that. So you stick it inside the mouth, and then you can, I mean, it's a bit of a gimmick, but it also, honestly, I've had this thing black after scrubbing down the camp oven with it, and it comes back yellow. That has literally been black before, and somehow it's still going. So.
And there's also, you can buy a scrub mummy.
You can buy scrub mummy too.
The next morning was quite a cold one. Pretty much everything had frozen over to some degree, so we're hoping that the cars are going to start.
What a temp is 6 degrees.
6 degrees.
It froze overnight though. Oh, it is so cold. My hands are freezing. It also means that the tyres will be cold, the rocks will be icy. That's another element. Oh, that's slippery. Just needed to hop that up a little bit there.
The thing with the tracks in Lithgow is that they're very steppy. The way the landscape's formed is layer upon layer of rock. So you're constantly just doing step to the next step to the next step. So yeah, the tracks get washed away and become just these steps. So they're an interesting terrain to drive on.
So of making it out of camp, we pointed the Forbies towards the town of Lithgow to check out what's on offer.
So we're driving through Lithgow. I can't get over all the old buildings. It really is a blast from the past, this town. All got fireplaces on them and old big industrial warehouses and stores and multi-level pubs, and it's super interesting. Now, being in Lithgow, one thing there is a lot of is railways. So you would have seen obviously all the railways we went through when we went through the Glowworm tunnel that come all the way back out here to Lithgow. Now, the thing with Lithgow is it's on the other side of the Great Dividing Range. So the trains need to get all the way from here to Sydney. They need to cross a massive mountain, which is, if you know trains, they don't like going up hills. So what they've done up here is actually build this zigzag, they call it, and essentially it's enabling the trains to zigzag their way up the hill. So instead of having to do massive corners and curves to make their way up, they can use a zigzag by using points to get themselves up the hill. It's a pretty spectacular site. There's like 3 causeways on it, and you can actually ride it. It's a tourist railway, but it's not open today, unfortunately. But yeah, really cool site, and to show you how they got the trains all the way over the Great Dividing Range and into Sydney.
So it's probably become very apparent that Lithgow was essentially built on industry, and behind me is a prime example. This is the old blast furnace that was built in the late 1800s, and this was because Lithgow became a big manufacturer of steel, so getting in iron, smelting it down, and now the remains are still here and it's a tourist attraction, and as you can see behind me, the youth of today still enjoying it very much so. And one cool thing that's actually here is what is called the Bosch skull, and you can see that funny looking spherical shaped thing over there. That's actually a big clump of molten slag that came out of the blast furnaces when they were deconstructing them. So yeah, there's just this big pile of slag sitting there, which is pretty wild. So we've just come down to the Lithgow Small Arms Factory, and this was actually erected, this factory, in 1912, and it was the first Australian factory to mass produce military firearms. And this was actually the biggest employer in the whole township of Lithgow, and at its peak during World War II, it actually had over 6,000 employees, and they would produce 4,000 rifles every week. And they still do operate today, supplying arms for the military as well as some hunting rifles and so forth. Now, if you're enjoying the episode and want to help support what we do, what you can do is jump on over to aussiearvos.com.au. We've got t-shirts and hoodies on there, a different variety of colours, all sizes, so make sure you jump over to the website and check them out if you're looking for some merch. So that's going to bring our trip to Lithgow to an end. It's got some awesome historical sites as well as some great camping and four-wheel driving.
Yeah, it's very well rounded. There's so many different things to do, whether you are into your history or into your tough tracks, it's got it all. So definitely worth making the trek out here. And
yeah, I definitely recommend coming and seeing some stuff, particularly while, as you've seen in the episode, a lot of it's still very easily accessible, not gated off or anything. You can still get to it all.
You got to do that Glowworm tunnel. Got to do the Glowworm tunnel. That was awesome.
The Blackfellows Hand Cave is really interesting to see. And obviously the Lost City is really awesome too.
And you'll have an awesome camp every night while you're up here. So yeah, definitely get out here, go enjoy it. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, get subscribed, and we'll see you all in the next episode.